Canon Entertainment. Throughout our first decade, we've delivered with stars that light up the sky, films that sizzle, action too hot to handle, and drama to burn up the night.
Hi, I am Austin Trunick, author of the Canon Film Guide, and you are listening to Play That Rock and Roll.
We're charged for excitement and looking forward to another decade of blockbusters. So look to Canon for the future. Canon Entertainment. We're moving forward.
American Ninja.
The mission to hijack a U.S. military arsenal.
Your destiny, my son, awaits you.
The adventure. The confrontation. The code.
I will honor the code, Father.
The invasion. The final hour. The deadliest art of the Orient is now in the hands of an American. American Ninja.
The chapters on American Ninja are like the biggest chunk of this book. You got a bunch of interviews. You covered all 5 movies. The first movie stars Michael Dudikoff and Stephen James, who everybody seems to agree is like the most underappreciated guy in 80s action. You know, he was in Delta Force. He's in Street Hunter. Like, he's had some movies outside, but, you know, he was a guy who should have been bigger than he was. So when you were putting this book together, did you start with the intention of the American Ninja series sort of being the centerpiece of this project, or is that just sort of how things fell together?
I would say it fell together that way. I had put writing that one off for a long time because I was intimidated by it. I have such a a reverence, but also just a nostalgia for Canon's Ninja movies, because those were the movies that I would rent over and over and over again. I saw the Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson movies when my dad rented them early on, but the Ninja movies were the first ones that I got into the whole Ninja craze that happened back then, and that. So yeah, I actually kept punting whenever it came time to like, what am I going to work on next? What am I going to sit down and write? And I kept putting off the American Ninjas. Not that I hadn't seen them and watched them a bunch of times. It was just, I was too nervous to actually do it. So, but it ended up working out well because it's a big franchise to cover. I covered all 5 of them in the one chapter because in these books, I found that I avoided repetition by lumping franchises together.
Oh yeah, as a reading experience, it's fantastic that you do that.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you're getting good feedback on that, because that's a real positive part of your book.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's what I was hoping for, and I'm not just repeating a lot of the same details and things like that, and that chapter grew very large, but just the number of the interviews I was able to get, I was able to talk to Sam Furstenberg and Cedric Simstrom, who directed the first 4 Ninja movies, American Ninja movies.
Oh, yeah.
I got, of course, Michael Dudikoff, I mentioned earlier, was one of my heroes as a kid. I wouldn't be writing these Canon books if the American Ninja movies hadn't hit me right when they did, at that like sweet spot of like falling in love with movies and action movies in general. But Judy Aronson, Mike Stone was somebody who I was really excited to get. I'd tried to get him for the first book to talk about Enter the Ninja, because he's the guy who brought ninjas to Canon. He's the guy that brought the ideas and introduced them to Shokasugi and kind of the whole thing going. And
he's a real deal martial artist, right? Like, he's a serious, accomplished guy, just like someone you'll cover in Volume 3, Frank Du. Right.
Yeah. Ooh, I would.
That's a teaser joke for the next time you come on the show.
We'll talk about Frank Dukes in a few years. But yeah, he's Steve Lambert is another one. He was the guy
okay.
who he's a very fun interview in there, but he's a stunt coordinator and he did a lot of pretty much all of Cannon's ninja movies for like a good chunk of time. And it's fun to watch these movies because he does most of the stunts himself.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons he says in the interview that Cannon liked him, because they got a stunt coordinator, but they also got 10 stuntmen for the price of him, because he would just do one stunt, then change the costume, do another stunt. If you want to kind of see Cannon's decline,
Oh, okay.
you can watch it live, or you can watch it happen if you watch all of the American Ninjas because the budgets, most franchises, if you were a studio making a franchise that you had a successful launch and could support sequels, you would pump more money into each successive movie, try to make it bigger, more bombastic. Killing words tonight, but you would just build upon that. You can usually see that trajectory as each sequel gets crazier when it comes to a franchise, especially in the 80s. Cannon, rather than spend more each time, they would spend less and see if they could squeeze more money out of a lesser budget. So American Ninja 2, even, it goes from being shot in the Philippines with larger budget. American Ninja, a lot of the crew that worked on American Ninja worked on Apocalypse Now, which is amazing because Coppola got there and they had all these people they trained. So a lot of the same crew that works on American Ninja. So of course, shooting a much lower budget action movie, they're going to do a great job.
Yeah.
But then they go and they move to South Africa for the second one. Yeah. And then they don't even bother bringing the American crew over for later ones. And
yeah. That's a good point, and that is kind of a bummer. It is kind of sad because it is hard to think of like what is a canon sequel. I guess maybe the only one I can think of is Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4. Like those seem to surpass Death Wish 2, at least as far as entertainment value goes. But true, yeah, you're right. There's the sequels do tend to trend downwards in the production value.
Death Wish, they do build, but the American Ninja, Canon was in worse and worse financial straits, and I do think fortunately, one of the people that suffered from it was Michael Dudikoff. If you kind of look, they have somebody who was really a homegrown star, and somebody who in-house, had they fostered it and like thought out a plan for him a little better, could have had a bigger star. But you look at his movies, and after American Ninja and Avenging Force, each one cost Cannon less and less money they put into, and so it's just the movies, you can watch the movies shrink around Michael Dudikoff in the Cannon films to where they're costing nothing near the end.